You know what I had to learn the hard way? That copying hurts. And it's not even the act sometimes, it's the fact that a person took time to replicate your essence, your words, your actions, and then repackaged it like they did it from scratch. Your ego starts to flare up because you're like, how dare this person do this? Like, they don't even know the blood, sweat, and literal tears that I have had to shed to get to this point. And let me be the first to tell you this. It's okay to feel what you feel, but it's not okay to live there. You see, here's the truth that nobody tells you about leadership. Nobody tells you that when you are leading in the front, you are also a target for copycats, imposters, and impersonators. But there's also a deeper truth in all of that. When people are copying you, they are copying you because you are the original. When you're doing something original, when you're doing something magnetic or disruptive, eyes are on you. Being copied comes with the territory and turf of leadership. It comes with being excellent. And I know this is not going to help you feel better, but you are actually creating a path for other people. It triggered me immensely, especially being a coach in the high performance space, especially being a Caribbean woman, seeing so many people copying my work, copying my style, copying the way that I present myself on social media. And when I was first rising in my leadership, y'all, that used to irk me so bad. But as I grew in my leadership, I started to understand that that is actually a compliment to your leadership embodiment. It means that you are so embodied that you have become influential. And to be quite honest, I would actually be really worried if people weren't copying me. And I think you should start to think the same way. If no one is copying you, if no one is taking notes, if no one is trying to do what you have done, are you really creating impact? Are you really being influential? People only copy when they are inspired, right? When they see something that they want to do and maybe they just don't have the discipline to do it. They don't have the commitment. They don't have the skill set. They just, use your actions as a template. But I really feel that the biggest downfall for a lot of high achieving women is the fact that you spend so much of your time looking at who's copying you, looking at what they took from you, looking at progress that they are making. And because you are so distracted, you stop producing, you stop really impacting, and all of a sudden you are no longer in your magic. And here's what needs to shift inside of you. You need to stop seeing copycats as competition. And I know, you know that they aren't your competition, but there is a deep-seated fear inside of you of their come up. There is a deep-seated fear inside of you of the fact that they are using your game, your cheat code to get ahead. So the thing that I want you to shift inside of you is, instead of looking at copycats like they are your competition, because they're not, I want you to start to look at them like they are your confirmation. Confirmation that you're doing something right, that you are in your light, that you are brilliant, that you are one of one, and that you are the blueprint. It's confirmation that you are leading in real time, that your ideas have impact, and that you're actually not chasing culture or trends. Honey, you are creating it. In my own experience of being a leader within the coaching space, I have been copied on several occasions, to the point where I've had to send cease and desist letters. Copying for me is more serious than just somebody taking your brand and your essence. I think it also really infringes on the intellectual property that you've invested in. Because I am a lawyer and I have a legal background, all of my branding assets are trademarked. So, honey, I play no games. I play no games. As soon as I see somebody copying my work or infringing on my intellectual property, a letter is sent from my attorney. And I just want to say that the thing that I learned along the way is that it's okay to influence people, but when people start infringing on your brand assets, which you've invested in, you definitely should not be soft about that. And that's why I spend the money to invest in brand assets, invested in a intellectual property attorney that I have, whenever problems arise. But this is you also being very firm in your leadership and in your branding. When you are leading in the front, it also requires you to have your house in order, have your assets in order, have your copyrights and your trademark in order. Make sure that your creative ideas are protected. So that is one thing to copy, but it's a next thing to infringe. All right. And I'll never forget this one horrible experience I had where there was someone that actually copied my entire website, y'all. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. This person copied the entire script of my website, all of the website pages. And it so happened that one of my followers got wind of it because the person was targeting my supporters online. And the supporter came back to me and was like, Dr. Shelly-Ann, this is your entire website. This is your entire script. And I got so upset. I had a very stirring conversation with this person via TMs, and I found out their full name, where they live, and all of that. And I got my attorney to send a very strong cease and desist letter. But that experience really showed me the dark side of being copied, and also how important it is as a leader to protect yourself, to protect your identity, to protect your assets and your creativity. And let me just tell you, like, people will try it. People will absolutely try it. And you have to decide what really gets your attention and what doesn't. So for example, if I see somebody copy, something I posted on Instagram, or copy my style of social media, I could care less, because at the end of the day, you can follow what I have done, but you're never going to be me. You know what I mean? And I think that's the one thing that people get really confused by. Just taking a template doesn't guarantee success. There is a lot of work that also has to go on behind the scenes. I have seen people literally copy my leadership bootcamp, for example. It's a 3-day bootcamp that I have. And they've done something very similar, and they don't get similar results because it's not your work. It's not what God has assigned for you to do. It's not your anointing. And so when you're trying to fit somebody else's anointing on yourself, it will never succeed because God doesn't have that in store for you. And I've seen so many people try my route and fail. And it's not that I'm gloating or laughing about their own experience of failure, but it's just showing me that these are things that don't need my attention and my energy. It doesn't need to trigger me because in the end, everybody's going to learn what is for them and what is not for them. Like somebody like myself who has a very large audience, a very large supporter base, the general public always knows the originator. They always know the original and they know the imposter. I think one of the things we have to do as well as leaders in our space who are often copied is stop thinking that the general public is going to be fooled. The general public is very smart. They see things and they're like, trust me, people see things and they're like, yeah, I know where that came from. You know what I mean? And so that also lends a perception on the person that is copied. So for me, I don't get triggered anymore by these things. I've grown so much in my leadership that I now see myself as the blueprint, as the G code, as the person that is really leading a path and a way for so many other women. And it is a privilege to hold a space like that. And I really applaud women that are following my path and trying to create something really beautiful out of that. But I also don't allow myself to be triggered by what people are doing and all of that. One of the things I've also really learned about people that copy you is that people can copy your actions, but they can never copy your consistency and your determination, right? I've seen so many people copy my actions, copy things that I do. And because they don't have the muscle of consistency or because they don't have determination, they never reach success. And it's because they didn't have those core character traits that help you to be successful. You know, I even remember some peers who are in the same industry as me. When I launched my mentorship community, so many people jumped on wanting to have a mentorship community. And then when they started it, they realized how much work it is. They realize it is very difficult to lead a movement and to lead women. It is very difficult to retain women in a community and keep your community successful, keep people wanting to join your community. You know, people see the success, but they don't see the hard work that goes behind that success. And that's why I say, yeah, copy me, try it, go see if it works for you. And 9.5 times out of 10, it doesn't work. Why? Because it's not your anointing. And so I think there is much comfort in that as a high achieving woman, understanding that people will find their way. People will figure it out very soon, that copying your path isn't a guarantee to success. And the last thing that I want to say about this is to stop spending so much of time looking at what these copycats are doing, these newcomers are doing. I find that to be so distracting and so energy depleting. And I see this very often with my clients who are trailblazers in their industry and in their space. There's this worry around people copying them. I've always had to bring their focus back to their work and to what they're doing and to what excites them. And you might feel that you are being distracted by what the copycats are doing. But I really want to say to you that your growth in leadership is going to require you to be very, very focused. What keeps me really successful, very relevant, and mover and shaker in my space is that I never operate from right now. Let's say we are in October. I am not planning in October. I am not living in October. I'm already in January. I'm already in December. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always thinking way ahead than the present time. And that keeps me very innovative. It keeps me very creative, and it allows me to kind of separate myself from the crowd of what people are doing in the now. And so when you get distracted by copycats, I want you to like ask yourself, you know, are you creating your next move? Because obviously your next move is going to be the move that keeps you in sync with your greatness. And people who are copying you can't necessarily make their moves without you making the move, right? Their moves depend on you. So I really encourage you to look at yourself in the future and keep making moves and taking actions as if you are already in the future. And this is why I'm always 10 steps ahead of the crowd, always in my own lane. And it's because I just don't focus too much on what everybody else is doing, because I am just so obsessed about what God has in store for me, what God has laid out for me, you know, my stewardship of my anointing and what my purpose is in this world. Great woman in leadership, high achieving woman. It is time for us to mind our business. It's time for us to focus on what we are here to do and stop being so threatened by people that are coming in and copying your style or your way of working. Sit on your throne of authority. Sit on your throne and recognize that you are the creme de la creme. You are the chosen one. You are the leader. You are the big dog in your space. It's time that you stop operating from a space of fear, but from a space of authority. That really is the mark of embodied leadership. That is the mark of legacy work. That is you staying rooted in the source of your creation and not being too concerned about what everybody else is producing. All right. So if this video hit home for you, if this little chit chat was helpful, do let me know in the comments. I know so many of you struggle with this experience, but I want you to know that it is not competition. It is confirmation that you are doing the damn thing. You are blazing a trail. It is hard to ignore. People are witnessing it. People are motivated to try. Because of you, you are increasing your influence. And all I need you to do now is to increase your authority, all right? Because you are that girl. So with that said, you're a light, you are love, and you are destined for greatness. I look forward to seeing you in another video. And if you are interested in coaching with me one-to-one, do hit the link below. All right, bye.